So our campaign has focused on, I think, the primary issue in this race, which is jobs and the economy. When I got into the race first in 2009, it was jobs and the economy. This is 2012, it's still jobs and the economy, because neither is improved. We'll see a few green shoots here and there about private sector hiring, which is a good thing, not nearly at the numbers it needs to. Our state, 170,000 people out of work, and that's just, woke up again this morning with 170,000 people out of work. And we need to get these folks back to work. We need to make it possible for businesses to grow. And when I got into this race, that was my focus, and I said, okay, I'm going to let the folks in Connecticut know exactly what I stand for. So I put together a jobs plan. It's available at lindasplan.com if you want to download it or just open it up and look at it. There are hard copies available too at all of our campaign offices. But what this plan did, I beg your pardon, utilizing my years of experience in business, visiting companies all around our state and talking to entrepreneurs, talking to banks, talking to other people involved in the business community to put this plan together, to say, okay, these are the things that we need. This is how it will impact us. I had an economist build the economic model against it to make sure that it worked, and it does. And because it's a pro-growth plan. It's not only putting people back to work, but it's growing the economy. It's growing the revenue base. And it starts, there's 6 points. It starts with a real tax cut for the middle class. We'll get rid of the 25% bracket. I keep all of the brackets the way they are today with current tax law. Do I think we could use greater tax reform? Yes, but honestly, we need to get started. And so I think my plan jumpstarts the economy, cuts taxes for the middle class, gets rid of the 25% bracket so that they're paying at 15%. That will help put money in their pockets and give them a little bit more mobility as well. Secondly, I've reduced, my plan reduces taxes on businesses. It cuts taxes from 35% to 25%. Now, there are a lot of folks and a lot of candidates who recommend this. However, my plan also caps taxes for small businesses, for businesses regardless of your structure. If you are a sub-S, if you're an LLC, you won't pay more than 25% tax. And I think that's a big advantage, for our pass-through companies. Because as we know, you all know better than anyone, that small businesses create 65% of the jobs. So they should have an advantage and not find themselves in a position of potentially paying higher tax than a big company would pay. Now, I'd also get rid of subsidies and loopholes for companies by lowering that tax rate, because we're going to grow the revenue base at the same time. Third, I'd roll back our overburdensome regulations. I've met with many of our bankers around our state. I was with a group just this week talking about the squeezing effect of Dodd-Frank legislation and how it has impacted our community banks for lending to our businesses. And I'll share a story with you. There was a gentleman up in the northeastern section of the state who wanted to double the size of his facility. He wanted to buy 2 more machines and hire 8 new people. And when he went to his bank, and bank he'd done business with for 20 years, and I bet some of you have had the same situation. Bank he'd done business with for 20 years, he laid out his business plan. It was a solid business plan, and they looked at it, and the response back was, well, you're asset rich, but you're cash poor. And he said, I know that. That's why I'm here. I need the cash. I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. And they explained that under the regulatory environment, that he would have to over-collateralize his loan by 150% in order to get the money. And he told me, he said, that's just a risk I wasn't willing to take. I'm willing to take a risk because, entrepreneurs, people like you who've built businesses, know that you plan on managing the downside and know that the upside will take care of itself. But when you can't manage the downside, when there is too much uncertainty, and when you can't plan it well, you're not going to take the risks. I know that we need to make sure that those regulations, I think, which were passed with the best of intentions, are having unintended consequences, and really squeezing our economy, squeezing our middle class, not allowing small businesses to grow, and handcuffing banks, our community banks, who really weren't responsible for our financial cliff that we faced. And so we need to let banks be able to deal with their customers and do what they do best, which is evaluate, I think, the market and help entrepreneurs and small businesses grow. The fourth thing I would do is cut spending. Because you cannot cut taxes and not cut spending. Pardon me. And that's one of the problems, I think, that we had under the Bush administration. We cut taxes, but we didn't cut spending. And we're going to have to do both to get our economy back on track and to push forward. I'm proposing cutting 1 penny out of every dollar, except that I would not, except for some fat in budgets, cut our defense budgets anymore. They've already been cut $500 billion. Sequestration, which is rapidly moving towards the end of this year, would cut another $500 billion out of defense. I am not in favor of cutting our defense budget for 2 reasons. One, I think we weaken our military and we put our national security at risk. But secondly, we have so much defense industry here in our state. Not only our subbase in Groton, which I would fight tooth and nail to keep open, and our jobs at Electric Boat, but also our other big contractors, Sikorsky, Pratt & Whitney, other big contractors, but then the hundreds of small manufacturing companies and small businesses that are subcontractors to the defense industry. And I have visited now over 270 businesses here in the state, primarily all of them small businesses, and a fair proportion of them, the largest portion of them, precision manufacturing. And they are very worried, those that are involved in the defense industry, very worried about what's going to happen. They'll have to shut down, or that would be the worst case scenario. Many of them would have to close, but also they're wondering then what kind of business they'll have going forward. Will they have to do layoffs? What kind of staffs will they be able to keep on board? The fifth thing that I'm really focused on is to make sure that I call it empowering our workforce. Now, I believe strongly in education. I think education is the tool by which the next generation is going to grow and be successful. However, that involves many types of education. I want every child that can be successful at college and want to go to be able to go. But at the same time, we are rapidly turning out the first generation without skills. And as I have toured our state and all of these many manufacturing companies, I almost invariably, everyone I talk to tell me that they are having difficulty finding a skilled workforce. And I think we have to have a stronger relationship between our technical schools, our community colleges, so that we're developing not only the curriculum there for the jobs that are available, but also having the skilled instructors in those colleges and schools on the equipment that's going to be needed to train them for the jobs that we have here. And there are some companies that are already working well with the community colleges and having internship programs and apprentice programs, and they're having great success. They're good jobs, they pay well, they have good benefits. And I think sometimes that we tend to look down on those kind of jobs, and we need to encourage those who want to have a skill, to please pursue that. And the last point in my plan is to make sure that we develop a comprehensive energy policy. Now, I think that we need to continue to drill for our oil and our natural gas reserves that we have in abundance, while at the same time we develop our renewables, our wind, our solar, our geothermal, our biofuels, our fuel cells. And I have toured all kinds of facilities during this campaign to look to see how they do that. It's all fascinating. There's a lot of jobs, to be had or to grow in all of these industries. But I'm a strong supporter of the Keystone Pipeline. I'm a strong supporter of developing, as I said, these resources that we have in abundance while we develop our renewables and in our green energy. Because we can be energy independent, but I'm also very concerned that we do protect our environment at the same time. So this is a comprehensive 6-point plan. There's more to it if you'd like to take a look at it and see, see the meat around the bones, as I call it, with this plan. It will jumpstart our economy. It will put people back to work. It'll help businesses grow. We will grow revenue because we're going to cut spending, but we're going to eliminate subsidies, loopholes. We're also going to make sure that we are focusing our efforts in the right direction to jumpstart this economy.